Hey everyone, Rob J here, and welcome to the Nova. Today we're talking about Maximum Carnage for the Sega Genesis. Now, I'm going to give you a very brief explanation of the story. And I'm going all by memory here because I did read the comic a little bit, so I'm sorry if I get some bits and pieces wrong, but here it goes. After the Carnage symbiote was destroyed, Cletus Cassidy was locked away at the Vault. It's a maximum security prison. He was later transferred to the Ravencroft Institute as the doctors wanted to find a cure for his madness. After they drew some blood, the Carnage symbiote emerged. And the reason behind that is after the Carnage symbiote was destroyed, before it was destroyed, it mutated with Cassidy's blood. And therefore, he could become Carnage once again. Then after he turned into Carnage, broke free from the security guards, and killed the doctors, he released Shriek, who is a powerful, she's got crazy powers of telekinesis, and that later became his wife in the series, but it's like a murderous wife. And then he recruited his team of evil supervillains such as Doppelganger, Demogoblin, and Carrion. And then they wreaked havoc across New York City, killing thousands and thousands of people. And Shriek also played a part in this too, because of her telekinesis, and she's able to tap into your mind and trigger your anger, your fears. She got everyone in the population to be bloodthirsty killers. Yeah, she's that powerful and that crazy. And I thought that was pretty neat. I didn't know that until when I was reading the comic. I'm like, Shriek seems pretty powerful. But let's talk about the game. The game lets you start off as Spider-Man, where he's cleaning up New York City. And then later on in the game, you get to have a choice between Spider-Man or Venom. The gameplay for me is a bit of a mixed bag. I know it's a beat 'em up, so it's going to be repetitive as you're going to be beating up, characters here and there and thugs, and it's just, I found it to be very boring after a while. And the reason behind that was the move list. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of moves, and they seem just to be extremely boring for superheroes. And I like the idea that the more accurate your hits are, the better chance you have of releasing this crazy power move, but it should have been turned into a move by itself. I get why they added the accuracy. They wanted you not just to keep spamming your punch and just doing this all day, that's how I punch, just like that. They wanted to add some element of skill, and I liked it, but I thought it was just poorly done. And their special moves, Venom does this spinning, punching move, and then Spider-Man does this weird ballerina twirl kick. Why? It's so weird. I'm like, this is not a natural move. If you were in a fight and you did this weird ballerina twirl, you wouldn't get very far. No. So just a little ballerina twirl kick. There we go. But you got what I meant, though. It was an odd choice for a move that would drain a bit of your health and help clear enemies all around you. The generic basic moves I use constantly are not too bad, but I felt there could have been a bit more moves in this game. And I know you can say, well, they compensated the moves for the assists. The assists to me, it's pretty cool to see Black Cat, Deathlock, Captain America, Morbius the Vampire, Firestar appear, Iron Fist appear. It would have been neat to have been able to switch into those characters, or have some AI behind them where they would help you fight in stages. And let's talk about the stages. The stages at first, your first impression is, okay, I'm in New York City, I'm at Central Park, I'm at the Fantastic Four lab. It's typical beat 'em up scenarios, but they're kind of dull. They're kind of dull and boring looking, and I wish there was a little bit more thought put into the process of making them look unique and fun, because I swear they reused the stage 1 and this kind of added broken windows and graffiti into a later stage. I'm like, that's kind of lazy. And let's talk about the only one varied stage or variation of stages, which was the wall climb. I don't know why they didn't reuse that. Yeah, it could have been annoying to have it come into play every so often in the game, but it was neat to do that level. And I'm like, they only did it once. Why? Why not incorporate it again, but add enemies on the ledges, or just incorporate it again? It added some variation to the game. It would have been just a beat 'em up. It would have been a wall climb beat 'em up. And I know in my previous reviews, I'm like, you can't do variations like that in a beat 'em up, but this, if they did it a couple times, not like, I'm gonna go from beat 'em up to shooter, it would have been okay. It would have been okay just to have a beat 'em up sections here and there, and then maybe once in a while do a wall climb, not just wall climb. That's it, only once. They should have incorporated it more. But anyways, see, I can get on like a rant like crazy sometimes when I'm just passionate about beat 'em up games, because I love beat 'em up games, and I wish this game could have been a lot more fun. But it got really boring after a while, and the bosses are just, some of them are so weird. Like, you have like the beret girls, like the hat beret girls. You have these big guys with like, looks like hands in their hand, and then you have the umbrella guys. Okay, so they're just getting really lazy. But I understand they want to incorporate the population's madness of them just trying to kill everybody. It will typically kill you, but I don't know. I didn't like those bosses, and seeing Doppelganger and Shriek at first, it's cool, right? Because you're fighting them, and it's also part of the comic. And then you see Doppelganger. Oh, sorry, I said Shriek and Doppelganger, yes. And then you get to see Demo Goblin. You get to see Carrion, and then Carnage makes an appearance here and there. But I found one thing I didn't like was they sped up their movement speed and attack speed gradually. So towards the end, before you have the final fight with Carnage, what they did was they just maximized the speed of Shriek, Doppelganger, Demo Goblin, and Carrion. And it's virtually impossible. Well, not impossible. I guess if you really tried, you could defeat them. But it's frustrating to fight them when they're at their top speed, when you're kind of on the streets of New York. So I think they wanted to incorporate you summoning all your assists at that point, because the final fight with Carnage, you can't summon any assists. It's just literally, you can swap between Spiderman and Venom, and that's it. So if that was their intentions, okay. But I found those bosses to be quite annoying later in the game, because Demo Goblin, for one, he has a counter where every time you hit him, he hits you back. So what are you left to do? You can either jump kick him, or you can charge him. I guess you can try charging him, but I found with Venom, he was quite OP because he had his jump kick. Now, his jump kick, if you hold the direction you're going into, you can actually push the enemy back. So his jump kick becomes extremely overpowered, but that makes the game boring. If you're Spider-Man, I personally would not use Spider-Man after the first couple levels you're using him, because he's quite weak against these cheap bosses. I mean, like Shriek and Doppelganger, no issues. Demo Goblin, I think, is the biggest issue for me, and Carnage. Carrion is okay. Carrion just kind of floats around, and he'll grab you once in a while. I think he drains your life. I think that's the idea of his power. But he's no problem. But Demo Goblin, though, every time you hit him, he hits you back. And come on, that's just cheap programming. Again, I'm on a rant here because I'm so passionate about beat 'em ups. I was just so upset how this game was developed, because it could have been a lot better. It could have been a lot better. And again, you're gonna have to use Venom's jump kick against Doppelganger, Shriek, Carrion, Demo Goblin, and even Carnage towards the end of the game. Taking on Carnage, there are some moments where you're taking on Carnage where you can do your basic combo and you can get your accuracy up so high where you can do your power move, but Carnage, again, has very random moves. So there's no like, okay, he's going to do his axe slash here. Okay, he's going to do his axe walking strike here. No, you have to kind of roll with the punches and understand what you're going to do next. And which is great. It adds a difficulty, but it adds a cheap difficulty to it because he's so random that you can't have a consistency with your strategy. And I get it, it's a 90s game, it's difficult, but I didn't like that. I didn't like the fact that the bosses sped up towards the end of the game I didn't like how random the bosses were. The ones that weren't the main villains, like the beret girls, the umbrella guys, and the guys with hams in their hands. I just, it could have been done a lot better. And I know everyone loves this game, and I can see why. And I'm probably gonna get so much hate for knocking this game, but the game is not good. It's like it's I'll play it for a couple minutes and like, okay, it's fun and everything, but like it's not a game I would pick up and play every other day. Like Streets of Rage 2, perfect formula for a beat 'em up. Enough a variety of moves, the stages are really well designed, the enemies have weaknesses and they have their strengths. It's a solid game. This one, they should have spent more time on it to perfect it and have it a little bit more polished. Mind you, it does keep elements from the comic book, which is a plus for me. I do like that, and they have these cool comic panels brief in between the levels. I like that a lot, but it's that can't save it enough for me to say I love this game. I think the game is just average. Yeah, it's just average. And you could argue with me that the assists compensate again for the lack of moves, but it doesn't. It really doesn't. Like, it's cool to see them appearing, like Black Cat doing her little somersaults and then Cloak and Dagger coming in, and it would have been better if they were playable characters or if they were AI characters assisting you on each and every stage. That would have made the game like high in my books of being like, wow, this is really cool. This is really memorable. I think everyone has a great memory of this game because it was a really solid Spider-Man and Venom beat 'em up game, which is no lie. There wasn't much of a choice of playing as Spider-Man or Venom back in the day during the 16-bit era. So when this game came out, everyone was like, whoa, you get to play as Venom or Spider-Man. That's such a great and cool concept, which that kind of fogs your vision of how bad this game really is. Because after a while, it's like, okay, I am Spider-Man. Oh, I am Venom. Is there anything more to this game? Can I not get more moves and everything? Not really. You just get more assists and you get more frustrated with the bosses. But now, in terms of recommendation, I know I kind of talked about this topic, but get the game, yes, if you're a Marvel fan. I know a new movie is coming out of Let There Be Carnage, so I think that's going to be really cool to see that. I think Woody Harrelson is playing Cletus Cassidy, and I think that's a really smart choice because he can be all that kinds of crazy. But get this game. I would say get this game if you're a Marvel fan and you like the Venom, Spider-Man, and Carnage series. But if you're like, I want to get a good beat 'em up, have your expectations low for this game because it's not gonna compare to Streets of Rage 2 or Final Fight. No, it will not. Yes, that's my final opinion on the game. Thank you so much for watching, and if you liked what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm Rob J. Thank you for entering the Nova, and I'll see you next time. Take care.